Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Joining me in studio now is our investigative journalist, Kit Daniels. Kit, now you've got a story coming out of the EU. This is something we've talked about for years, and once again, they're proposing this, and they might actually get their chance this time around because of all the terrorism that they've been importing, of course, order out of chaos. So this is, once again, EU proposing the government ID to access the internet.
Yeah, exactly. This is just the government using the guise of anything that they want to push into, total tyranny. It's like you said, though, of course, they let in all the Muslim migrants into Europe, then all of a sudden they have bombings and what have you, but they still won't close any of the borders.
Yeah.
And now, it's like,
it's the new normal.
Yeah.
Terrorism.
Yeah. It's the new normal, terrorism, just like you said. And the new normal is to take away the rights of the citizens, but not the terrorists. Because the terrorists are these useful patsies that they can use to bring in complete police state.
Yeah. And so this is obviously something that's going to be eradicating both online privacy as well as free speech. People are already likening it to the mark of the beast. And we have seen this being proposed for years. There was actually the Bilderberg back in 2012 were pushing for mandatory internet ID for Europe. And I know that you all did some reporting on this in 2014 about how the White House was wanting to push Chinese-style ID system for internet users. So what would this look like?
Well, going back like 15 years ago, even 20 years ago, back in the infancy of the internet, so to speak, you didn't have that many people using it. You could go on there anonymously and go on a Usenet group or whatnot and post your thoughts, opinions on everything without fear of public backlash because no one knew who you were. It was literally a digital Guy Fawkes mask. And now when Facebook came around, I think 2004, they started conditioning people into using their real names and they're using their real photos and whatnot. And now what you have is Facebook and Twitter. It's got maybe a third of the internet now as far as the traffic. So it's like Matt Drudge said back in October, it's a complete internet ghetto.
Right.
Now I even go further than that. It's turned into a virtual superstate.
Right.
Just kind of like the Holy Roman Empire, except it's all digital. So instead, and of course, they don't want people being anonymous in their little virtual superstate because when you are not anonymous, you fear backlash of spreading your opinion. So it's a complete chilling effect on free speech.
Right, and we've already started to see that now that people understand that they're being tracked on Facebook and these others. Facebook app on your phone can be listening to you at all times. It's just to sell you targeted advertising, but of course, that's what they say right now. Who knows where it could go? We also have a story coming out now that the police and FBI are wanting Android to turn over all of their location tracking. So if you have that turned on your phone, which a lot of people don't understand, when you get your phone, it's all set up to heavily track you and surveil you. You have to turn all of these things off. And now the police are filing warrants saying, give us the location data so that we can start putting people where they were when certain things happened. And they really are building the Minority Report as we speak all around us.
Yeah, it's like I said in so many videos, is that the government can only expand at the expense of individual liberties. And the government, especially government officials, they always want more and more power. But they're never going to hit a line that's going to stop them from gaining more power. So what you're going to see is more draconianism, more authoritarianism. So yeah, it's like exactly, they're just going to treat people like cattle. They want to track people. They really don't even have a reason to track people. I mean, when you think about it.
They want to control, they're obsessed with controlling every single aspect of our life to the point now that they're putting out these propaganda campaigns on mainstream media about how great it is to microchip your kids, because then they won't get kidnapped and they won't get stolen, and that's how they're going to sell it.
And that's the other thing is the fact that they, when they suppress other people's speech by not allowing them to go online and talk, freely, then they can put out whatever propaganda they want.
Right. Because they have no counter argument, or their little sock puppets will pop up in all the chat rooms. I mean, they've got all the bases covered at this point. And let's just point out this article that came out earlier this week about the French officials who were able to do a secret tax raid on the Google offices there so that they could say, hey, you owe us billions in taxes for setting up shop here. Well, the only way that they were able to do that was by going completely offline. They had one PC that they had in their station that was only accessing like the word processor. So they went completely offline for over a year. They weren't even allowed to utter the words Google just in case their phone was listening to them. They had to give it a secret code name. So this is, this is really interesting that they're going to have all of us being tracked and surveilled at every movement, yet they know that they're going to have to go underground to be kind of incognito and to get around the big eye of Sauron that's Google. So even now, your state officials are having to kind of figure out how to get around this.
Yeah, it's complete hypocrisy, but when you think about it, total control comes from hypocrisy because the government wants the dominant position. So, of course, they're going to do something that they don't want you to do.
Well, let's move on and talk a little bit about why this is so bizarre that we would want to give the government the ability to microchip us or ask for their permission in order to access the internet. It's super scary when you think about Elon Musk saying, become cyborgs or risk human beings being turned into robots' pets. So he's saying the only way that we're going to be able to be smarter than the AI, the super AI that's on its way, is if we ourselves get these brain chip implants and are able to instantly access the internet and all of that. But the fact is, the internet is going to be whatever that brain chip allows us to access. Who's in control of the internet? Who's in control of wherever we're allowed to access?
Yeah, exactly. And like I was telling you before the show, I think he spent, $1 billion or something like that to find ways to fight the coming AI war. But it's like AI is still in its infancy. I mean,
yeah.
So why don't we just pull the plug now?
Exactly. And they cannot help themselves. What do you think about, he also said that Elon Musk said we're living in a computer simulation, that if we're not, there's only a 1 in billions chance that we're not living in a computer simulation. And now I've been saying this for a long time. It seems very weird. We've seen, of course, this theory in the Matrix as well.
Yeah, this is something that I've been very interested in the past year. The fact that what I kind of disagree with when it comes to atheism is they think that we live in the base reality. But I kind of think that the universe lives in a superstructure, if you will. And I think it was back in April when these University of Vienna, I think, physicists, they freaked out because they realized all their mathematical models work better if the universe was a hologram. Like if it's a 2D, but you and me, we see it as a 3D object. So, it kind of gets to me, I crack a little bit because there's all this online debate over still if the Earth is flat.
Flat, right.
But maybe the universe is flat.
Yeah. Oh my, maybe we are a computer simulation, just like the Sims characters, which now update to the Sims, they have made it so that you can choose whatever kind of gender identity you like for the Sims. I mean, right, they're basically saying that our reality is just a grander version of the Sims.
Yeah, exactly. And, I took a astronomy class in college, and one of the things I remember from the class was the fact that all the elements that you see in our solar system is anywhere in the universe.
Right. So
a galaxy hundreds of thousands of light years from here is still going to have carbon and argon and what have you. And it kind of reminds me of that video game Minecraft. It was basically, the game itself is like a sandbox game that's randomly generated world with blocks. You've got sand blocks and iron blocks and air blocks and water blocks. And they say that one game world is like 8 times the size of planet Earth. And this is just a video game. And same thing with Elon Musk. What he said was the fact that 40 years ago, we only had Pong. And now we have games like Minecraft. So theoretically, we could get to a point where computer systems are so strong and powerful that we could recreate the universe.
Right, where we're creating these simulated realities that are so realistic, we step back and go, wait a minute, what's the machine and what's real here?
Yeah.
Just like what they're expecting to happen with artificial intelligence. It's going to go beyond what we can even comprehend at this point, to where we are going to look at ourselves. I mean, if you think at our cellular structure, even our DNA, we are the ultimate computer code.
Yeah, and I think honestly, this fits really well into Christianity, because when they talk about souls, the soul could be our source code in the superstructure.
Yeah.
Or the fact that, I think it was Hubble that talked about how they used to read the Bible, and then astronomy later on basically kind of correlated with what the Bible said. So yeah, you could think of God as
the supreme being that created the computer game we're all living in.
Yeah, and there's a Dutch philosopher in this, I think the 17th century, I don't remember what his name is, it started with an S, but he pointed out that God was kind of this infinite mind, and that all of us were living in this infinite mind. That fits a lot into this whole computer simulation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a fascinating topic to me, so I will definitely get you back in to speak about this. Thank you so much, Kit Daniels. And thank you, all of you out there, for tuning in tonight. We'll see you here again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central.
Buckley, tell us about Alexa Pure Breeze, discounted over 25% off as an introductory promotion.
It's the Alexa Pure Breeze. It's an energy-efficient HEPA ion cluster air purification system. It has a 4-stage purification process. It has a HEPA filter, pre-filters, and a carbon-activated filters. And the most amazing thing about it is that it has this patented ion cluster technology that kills airborne microbes with a final byproduct of clean water, not ozone. Because there's a lot of units out there that do that will sterilize the air. They will take out toxins and microbes, but you always come back into the room and you have that ozone smell. And as a matter of fact, if you leave a room sealed and you have one of those running,
toxic.
It is toxic and it's kind of dangerous. So this is non-toxic. It's a beautiful unit. It really looks good. I mean, it will look beautiful in your house in a corner.
The Alexa Pure Breeze, which operates as a fan, it's super quiet, it cleans the air. Every major room in your house really should have one of these.
The cheapest equivalent unit costs $259.95, and there are other units that are up to $899 to $1,000 that do exactly what this unit does, but they're not as quiet because this one has a silent mode which runs at 16 decibels. One thing that I encourage everybody to do is go and just look up online the toxicity of being inside all the time. In this current age, we're inside the vast majority of the time. Hardly do we ever get outside in the sun. We're usually out inside doing something in our office or at home. Houses have all kinds of stuff that's outgassing. I'm not going to tell you what the story is, but just go and Google that and look at a toxicity.
Sure, it's well known. Great job, Alexa Pure. Infowarsstore.com, InfowarsLife.com for all the nutraceuticals. Buckley, thank you so much, my friend.